What's happening? What's good, everybody? I want to introduce everybody to Orrin and Orson West. These are two kids that went missing in California City, California. Now, this story, it caught my attention. I was just scrolling through YouTube. I was scrolling through Google and also Facebook, and I ran across it. Now, Orrin and Orson was two kids that was adopted. They were adopted by Trezell and Jacqueline West. Trezell, which is the adopted father, he was outside with the kids. The kids were on the pavement in the backyard, playing with chalk. He left out the gate and went and got some firewood, okay? He brought the firewood back, and then he went in the house. He came back out the house, and the kids were gone. Now, when he came back, obviously, he forgot to close the gate. That's what he stated. So his assumption was that's how the kids got out the gate. Now, what I want to show you is pretty much an overview of the house and the backyard. So we can kind of get an idea of where they possibly were at and how they possibly got out this yard. So what we're going to do now is take a tour of this yard. I'm going to try to get the best view I can so we can see. Let's check it out. Now that was just a brief overview of the landscape of this home, which they actually purchased this home September the 9th of this year. Okay? Now, the police statement states that they investigated the parents, of course. In this type of investigation, they have to take any other kids that's in the home, which Trezell and Jacqueline had 4 other kids, 2 biological kids and 2 other adopted kids, okay? So they removed them from the home and put them in, I guess protective custody or whatever you want to call it. That's just standard procedure. That doesn't say they're guilty of something. That's just how they have to do it until this case is fully and thoroughly investigated. Now, during this time when Trezell was, looking for the firewood, bringing the firewood in the house, Jacqueline was in the house wrapping gifts for the kids. Now, this window here is the window in the front of the house. The room that you just saw is where she was wrapping gifts. So she had a clear view out the front window of the home. Now, I'm not going to say the blinds are open or closed because that was never stated. But let's just assume that the blinds were open. Remember that. Now, police report states that they did a lot of investigating. They dug up areas around the house, in the yard, just to see if the kids was possibly buried in the home. Now, another thing they did was they brought the police dogs, to see if they can pick up the scent of the kids. And they stated the police dogs, the canines, did not pick up a scent outside of the parents' home. Now, after canvassing the neighborhood, talking to neighbors, none of the neighbors even seen those kids. And remember, they just moved there September. Of course, this is now December. So that was 3 months. And nobody ever seen those kids. Remember that. So let's think about it. We know we all have nosy neighbors. But when you have a new neighbor that's moving into the neighborhood, we tend to pay attention who's all coming into the neighborhood, from the parents to the kids. We want to know. So at that point, you mean to tell me nobody's seen them bring kids into the home? Now remember, the K9s could not pick up a scent of these kids outside of that home. Think about it. Now, I'm not accusing the parents just yet, but think about it. Matter of fact, let's hear from the parents. Pay close attention. Pay close attention.
I want to thank everyone in the community for all the support we've seen. We've felt so helpless, and seeing everybody out here really looking and helping out really means a lot.
So, tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
Okay.
From our yard.
It was cold. I was gonna make a fire. There's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two would go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. We keep them close. So I was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them now. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said, no, they should be outside playing with chalk. I said, well, I didn't see them, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that didn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street in both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see them. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We gotta get going. So I called the cops. Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us. And they had us just sitting there, and we wanted to keep searching. But everybody came out in droves, and I wanted to thank you guys that night, but we couldn't go outside.
The cops told us the best are out here.
The best are out here searching, and we appreciate it, and nobody ever could tell, we could never talk to anybody, and that was the issue.
We just want to thank everybody.
We really want to thank you guys.
Please, if anybody has seen them, please call, let somebody know.
Call the cops. Call California the City Police Department. Call them and let them know what you seen, if you see anything. Our boys, they are going to be rambunctious, okay? They are going to be here in this area. And I really would like to go in the houses, but it's not because I want to invade people's privacy. I just want to know if make sure. That's it.
This is the first time we're hearing from you guys, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I can't even fathom it. For you guys, for people who are thinking that there's some kind of foul play involved, we just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys, and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly the point. And if we can find our babies, then guess what? That's no. And that's all I want is to find our babies. That's it. And I talked to her this morning, and I really wanted to tell her that I am completely sorry because we were entrusted with her children, and they came to us, and they became our children. We named them, and they are our children, and so we want them back. So please, if y'all could get back on what you guys are doing, we should be able to get a hold of somebody, but they took all of our tech, so they wanted to, I guess, just rule us out, which makes sense. That's part of the investigation. So that's pretty much it.
Now there's so much I can talk about, regarding that interview and what they stated, their demeanor, all of that. As you heard, the biological mother feel like they had something to do with it. One thing that kind of struck me is when they stated they are or they should be here. Okay, how do you know that? But we're going to leave that alone for right now. But another thing that bothered me is when he stated that he asked the neighbor that was down the street, did he see the kids? The neighbor said no. Okay, so that's 3 different instances where no one has seen these kids. Why is that? Now, in any type of situation like this, anything that could be foul play, you got to think about who you're accusing. What are their motives? You feel me? What would they gain by getting rid of these kids or doing something to these kids? A lot of the times it's insurance, things like that. Now, to adopt the kids, you have to have insurance because they want to make sure the kids are well taken care of. So if you want to make that the motive, it's kind of hard to accuse them because they had to do that. You feel what I'm saying? Now, there's so many angles we can go at with this case because it's so wide open. There's a lot of things that has to be investigated. There's a lot more information I do have, but y'all know me, I don't like taking too much of your time on one video. So we're gonna bounce back again later on this week, probably even tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely Sunday. And we're gonna break this case down because we need to find these kids. Something just ain't right, but I'm gonna hold off on who I'm blaming. Stay tuned. Next video, we're gonna break down that backyard. We're gonna go a little bit deeper in that backyard and see if they were outside, which angle they took. Did they leave out their yard? Did somebody take them? Remember, you can't make accusations without evidence or proof. So we're gonna break it down. Y'all stay tuned.